Okay, here we are, week 11 of Vegas Horse Pools Circa contests. No more survivors, so we're just talking millions now. What do we got, Scott?
It was a really interesting week of putting these in, but I thought I would share with you guys before we got started. I got my buddy here on the broadcast with us. This is Phoenix Adam, and this is the guy I go to for my NFL help. Phoenix Adam, would you like to say hello to the group?
What's happening, guys? Good to see you both again.
Yeah,
I'm
as
so
always.
I am
Hope you
so
all
glad to have
survived
you
last
on
night.
this. Yeah, hey, let's cover the fight last night because somebody broadcast before the fight exactly how that fight was going to go. I can't remember who that guy was. Maybe you guys can help remind me. But you want to talk a little bit about the atmosphere and how it was being at Jerry's World for the big fight of Tyson versus Paul.
Yeah, I mean, my first time at Jerry's World, surprisingly not for a Dallas game, but something else. It was, I mean, by the end of the night, it looked like a packed stadium. I'd heard that people watching Netflix, to them, it looked like was empty from through the coverage, but it was full house. I think there was a few spaces up in the nosebleeds left over, but it was 100% pro Tyson. Whenever Tyson come on the screen, there was cheers. Whenever Paul come on the screen, there was boos, which was kind of surprising because, again, as I'd mentioned previously, checking into the hotel, saying I was here for the Tyson fight, they looked confused and they said, "Oh, the Paul fight." I thought there'd be some balance in what we'd see last night, but it felt like it was 100% pro Tyson. At the end of the night, there was a lot of deflated people and I think disappointed people in how it played out. But I mean, there was two great fights on the undercard. Serrano and Taylor again putting it together. For me, it was a well-worthy night of boxing. Yeah, a bit of a circus at the end, but I mean, in that first round when Tyson hit Jake on the chin or on the throat or wherever he got him, I think that startled him. And then he just started keeping his distance and doing the jabs and everything that he should have done. I mean, I think multiple times on Friday or Thursday when I did a couple of things and we did this, Scott, it was, Jake by decision seemed like the logical choice at that 3-1, 11-4. There was even a Jamaican place that got up to plus 375 yesterday, and I got a little bit, but then they took it off the board and shut it down. So it could have been a one hell of a night in the watching it, and a one hell of a night in results too.
Yeah, I thought the fight was great. But of course, all the Netflix users got a lot of spinning wheels. Felt like you were trying to bet the fight instead of watch the fight. Adam, Phoenix Adam, did you have the same problem trying to watch the fight with the spinning wheel?
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous. I've come to really hate the spinning wheel in all forms.
Yeah,
It was
I would say I
frustrating.
missed about 25% of the fight.
Oh yeah, I
And
like I couldn't even comment on the grading of the rounds because I didn't see it all.
no, I never saw
So
one complete round either.
Yeah, well,
It
it
was
was about the second undercard, I think, where I started at the end of the round. I would send a message to the trading team, done, and when the bell went for the next round, I'd send started. And they were anywhere up to 35 seconds behind at time, and I'd give them a quick little note, and they were doing live betting based on very little vision and a few notes kind of thing. It ended up all right. They did plenty of volume. Didn't I think lost a couple of dollars, but overall the fight. I mean, the volume on this fight was just insane. How much action there was across the board, all the different props. Um, this is sort of the third mega fight that I've been involved with on the bookmaking side on this side of the world in the last, what is it, 5-7 years where it took a position, balanced or lean on one side. And, it sort of fell how one suspected. Again, when you sort of take out the fact that, yeah, I would have loved to have seen Tyson win. But when you're bookmaking and there's some logic behind it, all you want to do is make sure you don't lose on a stupid result, gamble a little bit, but, just bookmake.
Yeah, Crackman reported that there was a casino in Vegas that was going to lose eight figures if Tyson won. And it started to make me think a little bit because I asked you this specific question about the book and how it was doing with the fight, and you said everything was pretty even, which
Yeah.
pretty much flies in the face of that. So when I heard that 8 figures comment, I expected you to say, yeah, we're really buried on this side. But when you said you were
No,
really even, I was really, really confused.
no, for me, and as soon as these prices come out, we were laying Jake Paul under the market price while it was going up. Laid over the minus 300. I think minus 375 was the top of the mark where we laid Paul at minus 375. And then as the market was coming down, we were moving without taking bets because, again, I didn't want to get trapped on this position where, if Tyson landed a punch or there was, cynical side of it, some kind of result was going to be manufactured. There was no interest in taking massive position in an underdog. And that's just my natural thing as well. I'd rather lose with the favorite winning than getting beat by the underdog. And especially in this role, not wanting to lay Tyson at threes, 280, 260, which is some of the prices I took, not betting on the betting side, not on the bookmaking side, and got out of the way quickly. And I think on the bottom side, the lowest price we laid was like plus 174. So we'd laid plus 174, we laid minus 375 and kind of balanced our way all the way through that. And then as we saw the money coming back the other way, again, it was just get out of the way quickly on the minus side. Once we got our fills on there, then you lay a bit more Tyson. This was the perfect fight for bookmaking 101 of just the money's coming in, you know what to do with it. You had to have had a real big opinion that you wanted to be on the Paul side to let yourself get into a position of, 8 figures on a Tyson win.
Yeah, it's exactly what I thought too. So that's why I was shocked the difference between the two books.
Did the props give you any challenges in managing that, or are you mostly worried about these money line bets?
Most of the money was on the money line bets. The one thing that I was quite happy laying was Paul by knockout. I mean, it was, to me, way under. It was an underlay. No matter how this sort of rolled out, as it got close to the fight, and especially seeing a dynamic of the 8 by 2 minute rounds, you kind of think, well, there's not a lot of time to do much. Well, when you watch that women's fight and their 2 minute rounds, and you see the damage that gets done in a 2 minute round, you kind of go, well, maybe Paul could do some damage over a course of 2 minutes, over the four or 5 rounds. So towards the end, I thought maybe Paul, in the sort of 5th or 6th, may wear him down. But I think it was that key interaction in the first round where they both, sort of hit each other, but more so when Tyson hit Paul, that Paul was like, I'm not getting involved here. I just need to stay here. I need to win the fight. Let's just tap around. He dove a bit more into it round, I think, sort of beginning to middle of round 5 and round 6, but you could see that it looked like it was just going to go the distance and peter out on that result.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's probably about time we start talking about the NFL. Since we got Phoenix Adam here, I'll go ahead and pull up the chart here. This is Spank Odds. The very first game, Adam, that we're going to want you to talk about is Green Bay Packers taking on the Bears. What kind of inside information can you give us on this one?
Yeah, well, I mean, this one, the numbers pretty much stayed the same. For us, this is probably the most boring of the games that you're going to bring up. It's very balanced. The number hasn't moved between Circa and the game line right now. We're not seeing much on here at all. And a divisional game, it seems as well that people are sort of staying away from it. Even on the master side, the book's balanced. This is this and the Baltimore-Pittsburgh games are the most balanced games on the board so far this week.
Okay, we won't waste much time talking about this. Phoenix Adam, what do your numbers look like on this Green Bay game? Do you have a side?
I'm going after a couple of teams that I feel are in disarray right now, and the Bears being one of them.
Okay.
So the fact that the line hasn't moved, as Adam alluded to, I don't really like laying that many points typically, but in this instance, yeah, I'm going with the Packers.
You're going to take the Packers, okay?
I think the Bears are a mess.
All right, let's pull up that next game then. Next game that I had a very high percentage of the people doing millions this week was none other than the Browns versus the Saints. I'm worried about your Ohio Prime Sports because I don't know what these guys are going to do. So,
Well, yeah, this is the first one of the week where it's all Cleveland money. It's 85% of the money is on Cleveland. Surprisingly, it's sort of 50-50 on the tickets. This one has gone, I think the Circa number was +1. They're now -1, -15. So the money's definitely come that way. A lot of it, from what I'm seeing, is just an overabundance of rec money. Not seeing any sort of pro or sharp money on that one, but it's Cleveland all the way there. So we're looking at the Saints as the first part of our pick this week.
oh my gosh, we've hit the first one already. Phoenix Adam, tell me about your line on this game.
I'm in the Cleveland camp. So
Oh no!
I'm not happy to hear what I'm hearing.
Oh, is it our first class? Our first class.
But I've been rooting for Jameis and wanting him to get something going, but hearing Adam say this is not comforting to that.
Just so you know, Tout Adam is undefeated, untied.
We say this
publicly last week. It didn't work.
Yeah, we say this every week. I mean, there's, we've all been in this business long enough to know that maybe this is the week to go against us. But I've probably said that for 3 or 4 weeks right now.
Yeah, that's a common one that you have said. So
yeah, I mean, I even posted that we needed Taylor heavy on X last night before the fight. And again, just it's uncanny how this is going.
Well, if you're going to bring that fight up, she got robbed.
She did.
She got
Serrano.
robbed. No, Serrano.
Yeah.
Serrano should have won that fight. Right. Taylor should not have won that fight. So
I'm in agreement there, but when I went to the counter, they still cashed the tickets,
they
so
did.
I kind of just left it at that.
Oh, good. Let it go. So here's what I want to do. I want to jump down to the very bottom one. Apparently, you guys are not going to be able to see this one because our heads are all over it. But I want to stay in the state of Ohio. I want to stay betting at Prime Sports in Ohio. Talk about the crazy Bengals versus the Chargers. These are the survivor killers. What do you got on this game?
Again, we're going to need the Chargers. 85% of the money is on Cincinnati. The number, I think, has gone from +2 to +1. All the tickets, it's just everything. I mean, Cleveland, Cincinnati, they're just all over this week. So we're going to end up needing both the Saints and the Chargers. Again, be in the house, you only need to go 1-1, and ultimately you get the candy. But that looks like the 2 games that are going to be the big ones going into tomorrow.
All right, Phoenix Adam, where do you stand on this one?
I got nothing on this game. I don't touch either side of this one. So
I don't blame you at all there. So, you think do you think your Prime Sports customers in Ohio are causing this, or are your New Jersey ones causing this?
It's a bit of both, and it just seems like it's market wide. I haven't seen anything from any of the other books posted through any of the ones that normally do that, but it's in both. It's not just Ohio. It's not like everyone in Ohio has just decided to get on bandwagons this time of season. It's across the board, oddly enough, this week. It's really odd that these are the 2 games that they've really dove into, considering we're in Ohio.
That is absolutely funny. I agree with you. We got one more game to cover. Phoenix Adam, I think this was one of the games that you had on your list. I'm going to go ahead and give you this last game.
All right, sure. I mean, I think game of the day for most of us NFL fans is this Chiefs-Bills game. It's been an interesting one because I don't see the line moving from where the contest lines. Yeah, we've got a lot of key injuries on Buffalo's side, and then we have this whole kicker phenomenon. I can't help but think that maybe Andy Reid's going to actually be an aggressive play caller and not worry about the kicker, maybe. So I'm kind of curious what you think on that game based on your customer base.
Yeah, well, this one, I mean, we know that especially in the playoffs, KC seem to have Buffalo all sorted out. But this one is KC's 70% of the money on them, 70% of the tickets. We'll need Buffalo at home. But this is, I mean, this has been the game of the day whenever they've played for the last number of years. These have been the two key AFC teams. And it looks like this will be another big one, and we'll be on the home team. I think every time these two teams have played, we've needed Buffalo. So it's nothing new.
I think it would have made a lot more sense if this game could have been the late game by itself. Don't you guys agree?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than having them compete against and defeat everybody else from watching anything else. So those are our 4 games this week. Adam, you want to go ahead and break down your tout picks this week again?
Yeah, so I will add another game, which I know you had on the Raiders. You had 0.00 people picking them. Absolutely friendless, the Raiders. Well, I looked at the game just out of curiosity. 99.5% of the sharp money is on the Raiders. We've literally written a few pennies on the Dolphins from players we regard as sharp. Every penny otherwise is on the Raiders, but overall 66% of the money is on the Dolphins. So it seems like the sharp players are all over the friendless Raiders from the millions. So it'll be interesting to see how that game goes as well.
Yeah, that will be a good game. And that's the 10 o'clock spot. So that's one we can watch there if we're not watching, I guess, the Browns. So those will be a pretty good games to watch tomorrow then. And it looks like we don't have a, oh my God, early game, which I'm kind of glad for. So I can sleep an extra half an hour tomorrow.
Yeah, I realized that I didn't have anyone pinging me for tomorrow's early game, so no early games is always a good thing. So it looks like this week, and having heard Phoenix Adam all over Cleveland, I think our number one play we should stick to is the Chargers. But I am going to say we're going to throw in an anti-Ohio, I guess it's home double with both those teams on the road of the Saints into the Chargers. So maybe that's the go, is play the Chargers outright and then in the evening, but have that double so maybe you already have your leg live going into this late night game.
Boy, that sounds really good to me.
Let's do it. I've learned my lesson.
Well, I got one really important thing to talk about before we close. The show was delayed today because of the Nebraska Cornhuskers starting at 1 o'clock. We didn't have high hopes for winning that game in USC, but my God, they should have won that ball game. Nebraska, again, is one game short of being bowl eligible. They haven't been to a bowl in 7 years. It's time to get them to a bowl. Maybe next week with Wisconsin. Maybe that's their ticket. I don't see them beating Iowa, so pretty much going to have to be next week. Adam, how did your books look today on the Nebraska game? Did you happen to look at that?
Yeah, I mean, we ended up losing a little bit. From what I saw of the game, bits and pieces, it looked like it was back and forth all day. Yeah. Good opportunity. It sounded like it was a really good game from a spectacle side. Obviously, you ended up on the wrong side, but I know my podcast host down there in California would be happy at the moment. So, there's kind of a balance there of, who to cheer, and I stay neutral in that spot and just, let the teams play it out and decide the result.
Yeah, it was a great game except for the end, which was very close to it was exactly how the virtual game that I played on Tuesday between the two. I think they played overtime 5 times. Because they went to just the 2-point conversion, and USC ended up beating them in the virtual game that I played on Tuesday, and I broadcast on the YouTube channel by 2 points. I think it was 39-37. But like I said, I think they went 5 or 6 overtimes to finally get the score there. But
Wow.
all I can do is say we got to just keep our heads up, see what happens next week, try to somehow scratch a win out against Wisconsin, and then become bowl eligible. But that's about all I have for this week. Phoenix Adam, do you have any final thoughts?
Nope. Just thanks for letting me hang out with you guys. Been enjoying these streams. Mr. Bjorn's been killing it lately, so I want to tip my cap to him. And thanks again. It was a fun time.
All right. Great to be here again.
All right. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Thanks for
All
watching,
right.
everyone.
Bye.
All the best to everyone tomorrow. Cheers.